Welcome, dear viewer, to this show on Halls Creek, Western Australia. Halls Creek is located 350 kilometers south of Kununurra. It's the centre of the largest shire in Western Australia and the fourth most rapidly growing one. Halls Creek's got a population of 1,300 people with an average age of 27 years. The Shire website provides information on Halls Creek. We approach the town. On the Great Northern Highway, known as National 1, highway was only completed by the end of the 1980s, although the first road was constructed in the late 1950s. A DVD about the Kimberley service by National 1, and some fascinating reference books. The Great Northern Highway has no fences, and cattle are always a danger. Let's look at some of the surrounding scenery. Old Halls Creek is perhaps a 15-kilometer drive down the Duncan road from Halls Creek. A picture of the old Halls Creek back in the 1950s, prior to its closing. In those days it was very isolated. Picture of the Mayo surfers. Aboriginal convicts at the police station in Old Halls Creek. Aboriginal trackers were used by the police to chase down culprits. There are still signs of the early beginnings of Halls Creek. A gold discovery marked the beginning. Old gold mining equipment still exists. And in fact, gold mining has only recently terminated. An old stamp. An early photograph at the closing of Halls Creek. Not much left of the old Halls Creek. A few old mud bricks to remind us of the population of 3,000 people that were there when Charlie Hall found gold in 1885. The gold rush only lasted 3 months. Then everyone went off to Coogardie and Kalgoorlie, where the big gold discoveries were being made. The graveyard's of no great historical importance. Here's the grave of the only white woman to be buried there. It's also the grave of James D'Arcy, who hit the pages of the West Australian in 1917, the height of the Great War. D'Arcy was badly injured and transported to Halls Creek. There, F.W. Tuckett, the postmaster, performed first aid, using a telegraph to communicate 2,000 miles to Perth, obtaining instructions by Morse code, performed the operation with a penknife. Unfortunately, D'Arcy died. The entrance to the old Halls Creek. The old Halls Creek Lodge and Caravan Park is being offered for sale. Some of the remains today. Life in Halls Creek today largely a community of Indigenous Australians supported by government services. A view around the town. Halls Creek Aquatic and Recreation Centre. Looking at the Great Northern Highway through the town. The town hospital. Government workers housing, I think. Looking down the main street. Halls Creek is an important stopover point for road trains and tourists. One of the grocery stores. The Halls Creek liquor store does a very impressive trade. Most of the policing problems, the Senior Police Sergeant David Hornsby says, are caused by alcohol. There's been serious social and criminal problems caused by a shortage of housing. 6 men were charged there for offences against young girls. Sex attacks in Halls Creek has led to conflict between the federal and state governments. Welfare payments have been kept from parents who didn't send their children to school. We were next to the Kimberley Hotel, a lovely hotel with a great pub serving ginger beer. The pub at the back. Wall hangings indicated that horseback racing is of central importance to Halls Creek. Halls Creek was the terminus of the Canning Stock Route. Some of the colorful trees of Halls Creek. Aren't these tremendous? We had the choice of 2 caravan parks, the one at the old Halls Creek and Halls Creek Caravan Park. Picture of the Halls Creek Caravan Park from a Google satellite photo. It's totally barren at this time of year, as is apparent in this photograph of the caravan park. The main building does have an excellent store. We set up camp in the sand in 40-degree weather. I read about Russ and Jack. Russ and Jack was quite a character who saved a partner by carrying him in a wheelbarrow. He's been immortalized in 15 kilometers from the old Halls Creek and the old Duncan Road is what's known as the China Wall. It actually does look like the Great Wall of China. It's actually a totally natural limestone formation. It's picturesque at sunset with the cover. Wolfe Creek is an Australian horror movie. It was based around visitors to the Wolfe Creek crater who were kidnapped and murdered in the film. The Wolfe Creek crater is genuine and is accessed on the Tanami Road, 106 kilometers south of the town of Halls Creek. It's the center of the Wolfe Creek Meteorite Crater National Park. Its location is shown on this map. The Tanami Road runs through the Tanami Desert to the Granite's Gold Mine and on to Alice Springs. Let's take a look at photographs of the Wolfe Creek crater. A 1950s historical photograph. The walking trail to the crater. An aerial shot of the crater. There are some nice pools, such as the Caroline Pool and Palm Spring, located near Halls Creek. Thanks for joining me on this quick visit to Halls Creek in Western Australia. Have a good day.